Hercusy Alexander. Welcome back to Tom Plays Europa Universalis 4 for absolute beginners. We are back with the Ottomans and we're fully into the whole triangular rotation of conquest here. Although we do have some manpower to make back. We're currently looking at attacking the Europeans, so I've got an army slowly making their way up here. But we need to decide which European are we going to attack. So, okay. And out of nowhere, suddenly an event. Expansion of the royal bureaucracy. Suleiman the First, is that Suleiman the Magnificent? Yeah, will be. Well, Kanuni. Right, this seems like a good idea. A royal bureaucracy. Going to cost us heavily in stability, so we really need to use some administrative power to boost it, and we don't actually have enough, so this is going to be risky. Plus it's going to cost more to do it. Okay, so although historically I'd like to do it in 1563 though, that's pretty good. We get more tax and we can more easily get technology and ideas. I think we should try it. It's risky, but I think we should try it. I mean, that is quite good. That's 40 years we've got that for. And we can at least get back to 0 stability easily enough. We better boost it again when we get enough administrative points. Got a few separatists waiting. I assume we can't promote another culture yet. Nope. On the plus side, the biggest group, Syrian, is from same culture-ish as Turkish, so they're not so bad. They're not so bad at all. Okay, so we've got reduced technology costs, which is interesting. Might be even more inclined to actually get the tech when it comes to the military. Right, okay, so if we declared war on Venice, they have France, which is never good news, even though we get Bohemia. France, in case people aren't aware, is an absolute military powerhouse at this stage in history. And it actually looks like they've more or less driven the English out of the continent, pretty much taken all of Burgundy's land, and they've made inroads into Castile. So they're playing a very good game this time. Who have they taken out here? Provence? Yes, apart from actual Provence, which is currently owned by the Papal State. So Provence is no more, Brittany is no more. England is severely driven off the continent. Yeah, they really don't want to fight France at all, if I can avoid it. So Hungary would be a good one, because we have claims. I think this is part of our mission tree. We would love to take Hungary. The drawback is they have a lot of allies. Okay, Krakow I assume is pretty small, so that's not a big deal. Austria, I mean, it's fine as long as they can't bring their allies in. I mean, they're big, they're a rival. England is sort of scary, although they are also a long way away. Mantua and Florence aren't really worth considering, so we're basically fighting Hungary, Austria and England. I have to admit it doesn't appeal, although we do get Bohemia. Other options were Wallachia, but we will get claims on them later. Mazovia. Who is Mazovia? Oh, they're these guys. But at the same time, Wallachia is a much less dangerous proposition. They've only got one ally and we can still drag Bohemia in. So we'll have to fabricate claims on every piece of land we take, which is upsetting, because we would get claims to all of Wallachia's lands if we only took those 2 provinces, I think. I think as part of our mission tree, what would we take? We'd take Serbia, and then we'd get this option for Conquer Wallachia. And I think we automatically get a claim on all 5 of Walachia's original lands. However, to be fair, there's only 3 left we haven't already taken. However, let's build a spy network in Hungary as well. I don't really know if we need to ever fight Venice again. I mean, it's not that it'd be a bad thing, but I don't know if our mission tree actually takes us there, so as long as they're allied to France, I probably won't touch them. I suppose the only problem is these islands, which I think we do need for our mission, which is upsetting. Actually, worth a look would be the Knights. Oh, now isn't that interesting? Sorry. I'm happily thinking without saying anything aloud here. Okay, so I hadn't actually thought about this, but this potentially is an option to attack Venice without having to attack Venice. If we attack the Knights, Venice will join in. So if we have some claims on Venice, we might be able to fight Venice without having to worry about France. I mean, can't be totally sure, because we had that situation with Crimea where Kazan joined in, but to be fair, that was a vassalization situation, whereas I think the Knights are literally just allies of Venice. Yeah, they're not vassals. Although it looks like Venice is thinking of taking things that way. So we may be able to deal with the Knights and take an extra bit of Venice at the same time, which might give us a chance to wait for Hungary to be a bit more favourable. It wouldn't take much of Venice, to be fair. Probably just Dalmatia and Hum. Oh, actually no, Necroponte, Corfu. That's not bad. So we mostly want claims on these islands, don't we? Rather than caring about these too much. Even though I think our mission tree does include Bosnia, but then we'll get claims automatically. And I do think we need to take the Knights out at some point. Plus, given the Knights are practically full-time crusaders, we don't really want them sitting around our country in any case. Right, brilliant. So what we will do is I'm going to make a claim on just one province in each case. And then pull my spies out of there. Ooh, who's this? Hang on. The clergy. Okay. I think, even though it moves us towards mysticism, I think I can ignore them. Gives me more prestige. Let's just check on the free monarch points page. So we can do this again in 1525. Unfortunately, it is coming up. So we might find we have a rebellious clergy. So I may yet come to regret it. But let's see. So mainly, I want to build up our spy network to 20. A marriage offer, I am still down for that. Extreme practices. These are all the Sufis again. Well, a specific branch of the Sufis. Renunciationists, so it's a straight legalism versus mysticism. And even though I like to be tolerant, there should be, you know, limits. So, yeah, going to expel them, sorry. That was the royal marriage ending, and the Knights are making claims on us. They've got a hope. How are we doing? 1559. Okay. So I'm going to fabricate a claim on the one piece of land that I wouldn't get from the mission tree. These three we can get later. Okay, new ideas, still military. Oh yeah, we've just had the notification that it is time to visit the free monarch points page again. Grant monopoly charters, and demand diplomatic support. Seek support of the clergy and demand administrative support, so we now have a rebellious clergy, unfortunately. Won't last long though, they only need to get back to 40%. And call a diet and demand military support. Hasn't given us the ability to do any new national ideas. Not national ideas, ideas. Apologies, I keep saying that. Can't seem to get that one right. Okay, so we can actually move straight to here. We're going to have a problem fighting Venice and the Knights at the same time, aren't we? I could really do with having this army ready to go on the night. Unfortunately, we're going to have some uprisings as well. Ragusan separatists, Orthodox zealots and Crimean separatists, so we can't really afford to do that. I suppose what we'll do is we'll take Venice out first, get them to make peace separately, and then we'll go for the Knights with our ships. So our ships will remain firmly at home. It's going to be a problem when it comes to taking the islands, isn't it? Still going to be a problem. Never mind, I'm not going to worry about it too much just yet. Hungarian. Right, we actually need to be 30 to claim any Hungarian land. But having come so far, seems a shame not to, really. One thing we can do is start a spy network on the Knights. So the Knights are going to be our main reason to go to war. We'll declare war on them, but I want to have some claims on Venice so that... Ooh, oh, interesting. Okay, this is worth looking at. So this one here, our cause is just. This is something... Actually, is it? Is it from Influence Ideas? It could be. I think it probably is, but this is what I kind of meant about events being positive. So we actually get less aggressive expansion impact, so it should mean that we have less risk of everyone forming a coalition against us because we're attacking people too much, which is brilliant. Definitely what we want. Also, the Crimean separatists have arisen, which is good news. So it might mean that we can now move this army down to be ready to attack Venice. Usually once you crush a separatist movement, you won't have to worry about another one for a while. Is why I usually prefer to let them fire rather than trying to prevent them. So if we can just... oh, no diplomats, of course. Right, fine. Just move that there for now, because I know it'll have enough supplies to keep the army going. How close are we to making a claim? Very close. Just need next month. Right, so let us take our options. Visoki and Temes. Might go for Temes, because I don't think... I at least suspect we wouldn't get that as part of a mission, whereas with Visoki it's hard to believe that we won't. I think at some point we're bound to find ourselves with a claim on that as part of our mission tree, should we manage to follow it well enough. Okay, so this is all very diplomatic, so we now have one claim on Wallachia, one extra claim on Hungary. We're building claims on Venice and the Knights, which are the people we're probably going to actually be fighting. We just gained a diplomat back, so we're going to request military access from Genoa, which will allow us to bring this army over to Yanya, over here. Except maybe not. Oh no, I'll go there anyway. They don't really have enough supplies for the size of the army. What I'm hoping is, this may not work, I'm hoping that when the battle with Venice starts, we'll catch them unawares and I'll be able to move my armies into Negroponte and Corfu before they react. However, this navy here might scupper me. What I could do is risk my navy and try to take these guys out while I go to Corfu, but the problem is they'll probably bring another navy up from somewhere else and utterly crush me. You'd think that Venice wouldn't have a huge navy from the size of them, but I've known them to be down to like just one province and they can still field an enormous navy. I suspect that is the computer cheating, which does, I'm afraid, happen a fair bit in this game. I think to make up for the fact that human players tend to be more intelligent than the computer, which I can't really argue with. Right, so having got that diplomatic access sorted, and we've cancelled it now, where are our rebels going to fire? Oh, I did want to boost stability again, which might help with the rebels. So we've got Ragusa, Orthodox Zealots, Atina and Kosovo. Got a good harvest. We can either put into the treasure or invest the money. Administrative power is always more valuable than money, however much we need money. And to be fair, we only need 2,000 ducats, and we're making our way there pretty steadily. Okay. So where were... Oh, particularists. Where'd you come from? Atina and Kosovo. So they're most likely to fire over here anyway. Oh, that's because there's a missionary there. I see. I see. Okay, let's go next door so we can immediately attack them when they arise. So I'd rather actually allow the missionary to finish their job, which I think will happen as long as they don't manage to take over. Oh, we've already got someone in Atina. Right, fair enough. Oh boy. Right. Okay, so where are we up to? I think my next move is going to be, let's start building a spy network in the Mamluks. So that's for the next rotation, where we'll attack south again. It'd be nice if we could have Karakion lose aid this time, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Should be able to fabricate a few claims here now. So we want Negroponte first. I want to take these little island nations. You're only going to have one claim on the Knights, so you might as well make that claim and then pull the diplomat out. Mamluks spying on us, don't blame them. So they have just the island of Rhodes. We now have a spurious claim on the island of Rhodes. That should free up a diplomat for us. So now it's just a question of how many claims can we make on Venice. Okay, so while we're not attacking, let's move this army back to Selanik, so they're not losing troops. Split this army up. How many troops are we expecting here? 17,000. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So the idea is as soon as they rise up, we're going to jump in and attack them. Diplomat in Venice has been caught. They're extremely good at catching diplomats. It's very frustrating. And we can't even make any more claims. That's really frustrating. Okay, but we got that military technology that I was hoping for. You're also getting another influence idea, are we? we're still quite ahead. So yeah, I'm thinking let's do ideas. Integrated elite, so we can now annex people with less cost, which is great. The question is, do I attack immediately and just take Necroponte, or do I wait? I mean, I do think I should wait until these Orthodox Zealots fire, annoying as it is. Lots of religious civil disorders happening. It's probably the Protestant Reformation. Oh, Poland's attacking Wallachia. Interesting. So the events we've seen thousands of times before but don't really but aren't really something we can act on. Oh, this isn't good. I'm just clicking out of. Okay, Orhan II has fallen ill. So we either let the nobles take over, loses as tax, or we let the provinces be decentralised. I might do the provinces. If nothing else, it makes the merchant guilds more loyal, which means we can instantly ask them for a contribution and get more money, which is always nice. Administrative efficiency. More advisors. I like it. We've also fulfilled our quest now, having got a contribution to build a treasury. So this is interesting. Manufactories, which are our next goal, they are one of the two. Let's just start this again at one speed. They're one of the two institutions that you can affect by building buildings. Let's go to these institutions. I think manufacturers, it's the last two. So manufactories are worth having because they can make the institution fire in your country, especially if it's in a very developed province, which in our case will be Constantinople, so we would definitely want one there. Universities are the same for the Enlightenment, so we've got a reasonable chance of getting a big bonus at the end if we can get both of them to fire in our country. It's not a big deal, you know, as you can see, the institutions we've largely been able to ignore, but it's worth doing. Now the universities, I don't have a huge amount of use for them. I don't think we can even build them yet. But yeah, they don't really do a huge amount for us. Manufactories, on the other hand, especially when combined with workshops, which we already have a few of, all these provinces here, they actually make you a hell of a lot of money. So they're well worth having. They're also very expensive. But this is another example of a mission tree trying to guide you in how to play. So they've already had you build some buildings and make your money. Now they've told you to save a lot of money, and now they're saying build manufactories, which are very expensive. So this 2,000 ducats, I would argue we should pretty much spend immediately on manufactories. And because of the way institutions spread, it's a good idea to spread them out as much as you can. But at the same time, we want manufactories everywhere we have workshops. So we definitely want one here. See, this is a province we took over that came with a workshop, but doesn't have a manufactory. And it does have room for another building. So let's start by making a manufactory in Haleb. And we can't, why not? Because, okay, this is the other thing, manufacturers come in different types. So in this province you would have a textile manufacturer, and we don't have the administrative technology to make it yet. So that's fine. Ditto for Constantinople, I think. That's a mill. However, I did see that Aderna had a workshop. That would be a farm estate, so we can build a manufactory there. Where else did we have workshops? Selenik, we can't do that one, but this one here. Hudavendigar? I very much doubt I'm pronouncing that correctly. No, we also can't build one there. So fair enough, we will have to hold off until our administrative technology gets higher, I think. What we could be doing is maybe building some workshops in suitable places. So to me, in terms of spreading institutions, can we build a manufactory here? We can. Brilliant. Weapons manufactory. In terms of spreading institutions, you generally want the manufactories to be not next to each other. We want them, there we go, spread throughout the country, ideally, because it will allow things to spread better. Basically, when the institution fires, you'll find that you'll start gaining the institution. I can just show that. So a bit like here, it'll start building anywhere you've got a manufactory, and once it finishes, once it's thoroughly embraced in that province, it'll start spreading to every adjacent province. So you want to have them spread throughout the country, regardless of the monetary value. However, building them on workshops does tend to give you a lot more money. So it's probably a good idea to build a workshop everywhere you're planning to build a manufactory. So if we just take a look at where our workshops currently are, we've got a block of them here. So we don't necessarily want to build them there. Oh right, they've risen up there. Oh well, they're already being put down, so that's fine. So what we want to find is some relatively high value provinces for workshops which aren't directly next door to the others. We may have low value ones in some places, but like here for example, this is an 11. Probably a good place because once it gets the manufacturing institution, it'll spread to every country around it. Kosovo might be good as well, but apparently that province produces gold, which I wasn't aware of. Interesting, we have a gold mine. Need to go back to that. So this is just a +8, but it's quite central. Although this is +9 and it's also quite central. So let's build a workshop there. Already got one here, which is good. So we've got an 11 here, that's fairly central, a few places around it. This doesn't have to be perfect. Here's a +10. We just want to increase our chances in effect. Here is a +16, so that's definitely worth it. Some other countries will benefit from that one, but that is fine, I can live with that. Wondering if a +5 here might be worth it, even though that seems a bit rubbish. Let's go with that. So we built workshops, and those are the places where I'm planning on having... not having to worry about the Orthodox Zealots firing there now, because they've just fired. So I can move these guys back over to Yanya. So yeah, in effect, we're now building workshops everywhere where I want to build manufactories. There are some other places we could do rebuilding them. I'm a bit concerned about the lack of opportunities here, so maybe this 6. You see I'm trying to spread them out so that they'll just gain manufactories and they'll just spread everywhere. Don't do this the same with universities usually, partly because they're expensive and they don't give you any other benefits really apart from the institution. So I'll probably just put a university in Constantinople in the hope of making it fire because it's our most developed province. But it's optional, and I might put some around. I'll see how I feel when we eventually get there. That's quite a way into the future. Whereas we'll build manufactories now when we can afford it because they give us more money, which will allow us to build more manufactories, and so on and so forth. Okay, brilliant. So, ideas, buffer states. This is good. We have too many diplomatic relations by 1. Buffer states allows us to have 1 more. So we no longer have too many. look at diplomacy. Sorry, look at diplomacy for the Ottomans by right-clicking. We now can have 5 relations, which is good. So that's from the influence idea groups, which is a very good one to have. There's something similar in diplomatic ideas. They're both extremely useful. The difference is influence is great if you're going to have vassals and be annexing vassals a lot. If you're not, always go diplomatic. Okay, how is our diplomat doing? We've actually got another fabricate claim, so they've obviously recovered. So if we fabricate on Corfu this time, so in theory we could attack the knights at any time we wish to now. We're still expecting uprisings. Ragasa, who are these people? Ingil. Ingil is there. That's awkward. That's very awkward. I'm not looking forward to them firing. Georgia also over there. Right, so might want to think about attacking Venice, or rather attacking the knights sooner rather than later. Simply because we can maybe get the war over with before we have too many rebels firing. So I'm likely to have to send someone back over here in the middle of a war. However, I might just leave that for next time. Since I've done nothing but preparation, but we're in a pretty good position to attack now. So yeah, and hopefully all the stuff about institutions was useful. Actually, one more thing, because I did say I'd go back to it. Kosovo has a gold mine. Okay, these are interesting. I didn't know we were going to be dealing with these. They basically give you an awful lot of money, and I believe the general wisdom is that you should try to get them to a production of 10. So to increase the production, we need to increase development, which, if you remember, are these 3 things. They're almost dumping grounds for monarch points. And the production of the gold will go up at the same time as they do. The more you increase the production, the more chance there is that the mine will run dry and it'll stop producing as much money. But it's something to think about. So if we get to the point where because of the institution penalties, we're not getting technology easily, but we've used up all our national ideas, we're quite close to the top in administrative as it is, might start doing development in Kosovo. So that's another thing to keep in mind, but that is for next time. So yeah, I will see you then.